Many people believe that the only way to control high blood sugar is to eliminate carbohydrates completely. But the truth is far more encouraging. The body does not necessarily need extreme restrictions to heal itself. In many cases, the fastest and most sustainable improvements come from adding the right foods rather than removing entire food groups. When the body receives nutrients that support healthy insulin function, blood sugar levels can begin to improve naturally. Countless individuals have experienced dramatic changes simply by incorporating specific foods into their daily routines, often maintaining those improvements for months or even years while reducing their dependence on medications under proper medical guidance. To understand why these foods work, it is important to look at the real source of the problem. High blood sugar usually begins with insulin resistance. Insulin is a hormone that acts like a key, unlocking the doors of your cells so glucose can move from the bloodstream into the tissues where it is needed for energy. However, after years of poor dietary habits, chronic stress, inflammation, and repeated blood sugar spikes, the cells gradually stop responding efficiently. The insulin keeps knocking, but the doors remain partially closed. As a result, the pancreas produces even more insulin in an attempt to force glucose into the cells, yet blood sugar levels continue to rise. This vicious cycle becomes the foundation of type 2 diabetes and many metabolic disorders. Instead of focusing solely on forcing more insulin into the body, a more natural approach involves helping the body become sensitive to insulin once again. Certain foods can perform three important functions. They slow the absorption of sugar into the bloodstream, reduce the inflammation that interferes with insulin signaling, and improve the ability of insulin receptors to function properly. By combining these mechanisms, the body can gradually restore healthier glucose control at the cellular level. The first remarkable food is fenugreek seeds. Although they may seem unfamiliar to some people, these small golden seeds have been used for centuries in traditional medicine. Their power comes primarily from a soluble fiber known as galactomannan. When soaked in water, this fiber forms a thick gel inside the digestive system. That gel slows the movement of carbohydrates from the stomach into the small intestine, allowing glucose to enter the bloodstream gradually rather than all at once. This prevents the dramatic spikes in blood sugar that force the pancreas to release large amounts of insulin. Fenugreek also contains natural compounds that encourage more efficient insulin release and support glucose uptake by muscle tissue. For many individuals, simply adding a small amount of soaked fenugreek seeds to their morning routine can produce noticeable improvements in fasting glucose within a relatively short period. The second food is Ceylon cinnamon, often called true cinnamon. Unlike the more common cassia variety, Ceylon cinnamon contains lower amounts of coumarin, making it safer for regular use. Its beneficial effects come from powerful plant compounds known as polyphenols. These compounds help insulin receptors respond more effectively, allowing glucose to enter cells with greater ease. Cinnamon also slows stomach emptying, reducing the speed at which carbohydrates are converted into blood sugar after meals. Adding a small amount to coffee, oatmeal, or smoothies can provide a simple yet effective boost to blood sugar management. The third food is broccoli sprouts, which are far more potent than mature broccoli in terms of certain health-promoting compounds. These young sprouts contain exceptionally high levels of sulforaphane, a natural substance that helps regulate the liver's production of glucose. During the night, the liver naturally releases sugar into the bloodstream to maintain energy levels. But in people with insulin resistance, this process often becomes excessive. Sulforaphane helps calm this overt production, leading to healthier fasting blood sugar readings in the morning. Consuming raw or lightly wilted broccoli sprouts a few times each week can provide substantial benefits without requiring major dietary changes. Together, these first three foods illustrate a powerful principle. Improving blood sugar does not always require deprivation. Instead, strategic additions to the diet can support the body's own healing mechanisms, allowing insulin to work more efficiently and helping glucose return to its proper place inside the cells where it belongs. The next group of foods demonstrates an important principle in blood sugar management. You do not have to eliminate carbohydrates to protect your health. Instead, pairing carbohydrates with healthy fats, fiber, and anti-inflammatory nutrients can dramatically change how your body processes glucose. These foods help slow digestion, improve insulin sensitivity, and reduce the chronic inflammation that lies at the heart of metabolic disease. One of the most effective examples is the avocado. For many years, people avoided avocados because of their calorie content, assuming that higher fat foods automatically contributed to poor health. Modern nutritional science tells a very different story. The fats found in avocados are primarily monounsaturated fats, the same heart-healthy fats present in olive oil. These fats play an important role in improving insulin sensitivity and stabilizing blood sugar levels throughout the day. When avocado is added to a meal that contains carbohydrates, it acts almost like a natural brake system. Instead of allowing carbohydrates to be rapidly broken down into glucose, the healthy fats and fiber slow the digestive process. This means sugar enters the bloodstream gradually, reducing the sharp spikes and crashes that place stress on the pancreas. As a result, insulin can work more effectively without being overwhelmed by sudden increases in blood glucose. Another major advantage of avocados is their ability to increase satiety. Many people struggle with constant hunger and frequent snacking, especially after consuming highly processed foods or refined carbohydrates. The combination of healthy fats and fiber helps people feel fuller for longer periods, reducing cravings for sugary snacks later in the day. Simply adding half an avocado to breakfast, lunch, or dinner can transform the body's metabolic response to an entire meal. Chia seeds provide another powerful example of how small dietary changes can produce significant benefits. Although tiny in size, chia seeds are packed with soluble fiber and essential nutrients. When mixed with water or other liquids, they absorb many times their weight and form a thick, gel-like consistency. This process mirrors what happens inside the digestive tract. The gel slows the absorption of carbohydrates, creating a gradual release of glucose into the bloodstream rather than a sudden surge. This slower absorption helps prevent the dramatic fluctuations in blood sugar that often lead to fatigue, irritability, and increased hunger shortly after eating. Instead, energy remains more stable and the body experiences less stress from repeated insulin spikes. Chia seeds are also rich in plant-based omega-3 fatty acids, which possess strong anti-inflammatory properties. Chronic inflammation is one of the key drivers of insulin resistance, so reducing inflammatory processes allows insulin receptors to function more effectively and improves the body's ability to regulate glucose naturally. The discussion then moves to fatty fish, particularly varieties such as salmon and mackerel. Unlike foods that primarily slow carbohydrate absorption, fatty fish address one of the deepest underlying causes of insulin resistance, persistent low-grade inflammation. Over time, chronic inflammation interferes with the communication between insulin and the cells that are supposed to respond to it. The result is impaired glucose uptake and continuously rising blood sugar levels. Fatty fish contain two exceptionally important omega-3 fatty acids known as EPA and DHA. These nutrients help calm inflammatory pathways throughout the body, allowing cell membranes to become healthier and more responsive to insulin. Improved cellular function means that glucose can move more efficiently out of the bloodstream and into the tissues where it is needed for energy. Beyond blood sugar benefits, regular consumption of fatty fish also supports cardiovascular health, reduces blood pressure, and promotes overall metabolic wellness. Eating fatty fish just a few times each week can make a meaningful difference. Whether prepared fresh, grilled, baked, or even consumed in affordable canned forms such as sardines or mackerel, these foods provide a powerful combination of protein and healthy fats that contribute to long-term blood sugar stability. Together, avocados, chia seeds, and fatty fish illustrate an essential truth. Effective blood sugar management is not about deprivation. It is about choosing foods that work with the body's natural systems, slowing glucose absorption, reducing inflammation, and restoring healthy insulin function one meal at a time. The conversation then turns to two everyday foods that can have a profound impact on blood sugar regulation: walnuts and eggs. Both are nutrient-dense, highly satisfying, and capable of improving insulin function without requiring major dietary sacrifices. Rather than focusing on restriction, these foods demonstrate how making smarter choices can help stabilize glucose levels and support long-term metabolic health. Walnuts stand out among nuts because of their unique combination of healthy fats, fiber, and plant-based omega-3 fatty acids. These nutrients work together to support the body's cardiovascular system while also improving insulin sensitivity. High blood sugar does not only affect glucose levels, it also damages the delicate lining of blood vessels known as the endothelium. Over time, this damage increases the risk of heart disease, stroke, and other complications commonly associated with diabetes. The healthy fats found in walnuts help protect these blood vessels and promote better circulation, creating benefits that extend far beyond blood sugar control alone. Another important advantage of walnuts is their effect on post-meal glucose responses. When people snack on processed foods such as crackers, cookies, or chips, their blood sugar often rises rapidly and then crashes, creating a cycle of hunger and cravings. Walnuts interrupt that pattern. Their combination of protein, fiber, and healthy fats slows digestion and reduces the speed at which glucose enters the bloodstream. This leads to more stable energy levels and fewer dramatic fluctuations throughout the day. Research has also shown that regular walnut consumption may help lower fasting insulin levels. This is significant because elevated insulin often indicates that the pancreas is working overtime to overcome insulin resistance. By reducing the demand for excessive insulin production, walnuts support healthier metabolic function and may ease the burden on the body's glucose-regulating systems. A small handful each day can serve as a nutritious replacement for processed snacks while providing lasting satiety and important nutrients. The discussion then moves to eggs, a food that has been the subject of nutritional controversy for many years. For decades, many individuals were advised to avoid egg yolks because of concerns about cholesterol. As a result, countless people replaced protein-rich breakfasts with sugary cereals, pastries, and refined carbohydrates that had far more damaging effects on blood sugar. Current understanding paints a very different picture. Whole eggs are remarkably blood sugar friendly because they contain almost no carbohydrates. Their primary nutrients are high-quality protein and healthy fats, which have minimal impact on glucose levels. This makes eggs an excellent choice for anyone seeking more stable energy and improved insulin control. Unlike carbohydrate-heavy breakfasts that trigger rapid spikes in blood sugar, eggs provide a steady source of nourishment without overwhelming the body's insulin response. One particularly fascinating benefit associated with eggs is what researchers call the second meal effect. This phenomenon means that the composition of breakfast influences blood sugar responses later in the day. Individuals who begin their morning with protein-rich foods like eggs often experience smaller glucose spikes at lunch compared to those who consume sugary or refined breakfasts. The body enters subsequent meals in a more balanced metabolic state, allowing insulin to function more effectively and reducing overall fluctuations in blood sugar. Protein also plays an essential role in appetite regulation. Starting the day with 2 or 3 eggs helps maintain feelings of fullness for several hours, reducing the temptation to reach for unhealthy snacks during the morning. Many people discover that their cravings for sweets and processed foods diminish naturally when they consume a protein-based breakfast. This creates a positive cycle in which healthier food choices become easier to maintain over time. Combining eggs with other nutrient-rich foods can amplify these benefits even further. Adding spinach, vegetables, or avocado creates a balanced meal rich in fiber, healthy fats, vitamins, and minerals. Such combinations support not only blood sugar stability, but also overall health and longevity. Together, walnuts and eggs reinforce a powerful lesson about nutrition and metabolic wellness. Effective blood sugar management is not built upon deprivation or fear of specific foods. Instead, it comes from choosing foods that nourish the body, improve insulin sensitivity, reduce inflammation, and provide lasting satisfaction. Small daily habits repeated consistently can produce meaningful improvements that extend far beyond the numbers seen on a glucose monitor. The next part of the discussion focuses on 2 powerful foods that continue to challenge common assumptions about blood sugar management: apple cider vinegar and lentils. One is a simple household ingredient that can produce surprisingly fast changes in glucose readings, while the other proves that not all carbohydrates are harmful. Together, they reinforce the idea that choosing the right foods is far more important than eliminating entire categories from the diet. Apple cider vinegar has gained significant attention in recent years, and for good reason. Its primary active component, acetic acid, influences blood sugar control through several mechanisms. First, it slows the rate at which the stomach empties after a meal. This means that carbohydrates are released into the small intestine more gradually, preventing sudden floods of glucose from entering the bloodstream. Instead of experiencing a rapid spike followed by a crash, the body receives a slower, steadier supply of energy that is much easier for insulin to manage. The second major benefit of apple cider vinegar involves glucose utilization within muscle tissue. Acetic acid appears to help muscles absorb and use glucose more efficiently, reducing the amount that remains circulating in the blood after eating. This improvement in glucose disposal can be particularly helpful for individuals struggling with insulin resistance, where cells have become less responsive to insulin signals. Numerous studies have shown that consuming diluted vinegar before meals containing carbohydrates can significantly reduce post-meal blood sugar elevations. The effects are substantial enough that many people can observe measurable differences using a home glucose monitor. However, moderation and proper use remain important. Apple cider vinegar should always be diluted in a full glass of water to protect the teeth and digestive tract from excessive acidity. Additionally, individuals taking diabetes medications should monitor their glucose carefully and consult healthcare professionals, as combining dietary changes with medication can sometimes lower blood sugar more rapidly than anticipated. The conversation then shifts to lentils, a food that beautifully illustrates the central message that carbohydrates themselves are not the enemy. Unlike refined carbohydrates that are quickly digested and absorbed, lentils contain a unique combination of resistant starch, soluble fiber, and plant-based protein. This nutritional structure changes the way glucose enters the bloodstream, allowing for a slow and sustained release over many hours. Resistant starch deserves special attention because it behaves differently from ordinary carbohydrates. Instead of being rapidly broken down in the small intestine, a portion of it resists digestion and functions more like dietary fiber. This process slows glucose absorption and helps maintain steadier blood sugar levels throughout the day. The soluble fiber found in lentils further contributes to this effect by creating a gentle barrier that delays the movement of glucose into circulation. Protein also plays an important role in the metabolic advantages of lentils. By combining carbohydrates with significant amounts of plant protein, lentils create meals that promote fullness and reduce excessive hunger between eating occasions. This helps people avoid unhealthy snacks and prevents the cycle of repeated blood sugar spikes that often accompanies processed foods and refined grains. One particularly valuable benefit of lentils is the second meal effect. A serving of lentils at lunch does not simply influence glucose levels immediately after eating. It can improve blood sugar responses at dinner and later in the evening as well. This extended impact makes lentils one of the most effective foods for maintaining stable energy and metabolic balance throughout the day. Replacing refined carbohydrates such as white rice, white bread, or potatoes with lentils several times each week can contribute to meaningful improvements in long-term blood sugar markers, including A1C levels. Unlike highly processed starches that deliver glucose rapidly, lentils provide nourishment in a form that works with the body's natural regulatory systems rather than against them. They are affordable, versatile, and satisfying, making them a practical addition to nearly any dietary pattern. Taken together, apple cider vinegar and lentils demonstrate that effective blood sugar management is rooted in quality and balance rather than restriction. One helps control the speed at which glucose enters the bloodstream, while the other provides carbohydrates in their most beneficial form. By incorporating these foods into regular meals, individuals can support healthier insulin function, reduce metabolic stress, and move closer to long-term stability without feeling deprived or overwhelmed by drastic dietary changes. The final part of the discussion brings together all 10 foods and demonstrates how small, consistent dietary changes can create powerful long-term improvements in blood sugar control. Rather than relying on extreme restrictions or endless increases in medication, the focus remains on helping the body restore its natural ability to regulate glucose. Every food introduced serves a specific purpose, and when combined, they work together to support healthier insulin function and reverse many of the processes that contribute to insulin resistance. A practical example illustrates this approach. Consider an older adult who had been struggling with fasting blood sugar levels that remained consistently high despite medical treatment. The fear of progressing further into diabetes complications was real, especially after witnessing family members suffer serious consequences from the disease. Instead of eliminating carbohydrates completely, the strategy involved introducing better food choices while maintaining a sustainable lifestyle. Breakfast was transformed first. Sugary cereals and refined toast were replaced with 2 or 3 whole eggs accompanied by half an avocado. This simple change provided high-quality protein, healthy fats, and fiber that stabilized blood sugar throughout the day. The body no longer experienced dramatic morning spikes, and the persistent cravings for snacks gradually diminished. Before larger meals, a tablespoon of diluted apple cider vinegar was added to slow carbohydrate absorption and improve glucose utilization. Refined starches such as white rice were replaced several times a week with lentils, allowing the body to benefit from resistant starch, fiber, and plant protein. Afternoon snacks changed as well, with walnuts taking the place of cookies and processed foods. Fatty fish appeared on the menu multiple times each week, providing powerful anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids that supported both insulin sensitivity and cardiovascular health. Additional improvements came from incorporating Ceylon cinnamon into daily beverages and meals, as well as adding broccoli sprouts to salads and sandwiches. These seemingly small adjustments work together to create meaningful metabolic changes. Over time, fasting blood sugar numbers steadily declined, and under medical supervision, medication requirements decreased. The most remarkable outcome was not simply the short-term improvement, but the ability to maintain healthier blood sugar levels for years through consistent habits. The reason these foods are effective lies in their complementary actions within the body. Fiber-rich foods such as fenugreek, chia seeds, and lentils slow the release of glucose into the bloodstream, preventing sudden insulin demands. Healthy fats from avocados, walnuts, and fatty fish improve cellular function and reduce inflammation, one of the primary causes of insulin resistance. Meanwhile, compounds found in cinnamon, apple cider vinegar, and broccoli sprouts directly support insulin receptors and regulate glucose production by the liver. Together, these mechanisms help restore the body's natural balance. This process represents what it truly means to reverse insulin resistance at the cellular level. Cells that once ignored insulin signals gradually become responsive again. The pancreas no longer has to produce excessive amounts of insulin, and blood sugar levels stabilize more naturally. The body begins to function as it was designed to, using nutrients efficiently instead of storing excess glucose in the bloodstream. At the same time, caution remains important for individuals taking insulin or certain blood sugar medications. Because these dietary changes can produce significant improvements, medication dosages may need adjustment under professional guidance to avoid episodes of low blood sugar. Food should work alongside medical care rather than replace it without supervision. The practical plan is straightforward and sustainable. Replace refined breakfast with eggs and avocado. Introduce fenugreek and Ceylon cinnamon into daily routines. Use diluted apple cider vinegar before carbohydrate-heavy meals. Substitute lentils for refined starches several times each week and include fatty fish regularly. The goal is not to remove every favorite food, but to add protective foods that support the body's healing processes. Ultimately, the central message is one of empowerment rather than deprivation. Blood sugar control does not always require severe restrictions or constant struggle. By choosing foods that slow glucose absorption, reduce inflammation, and strengthen insulin function, individuals can help their bodies regain control naturally and create lasting improvements that extend far beyond a single glucose reading.